All right. Hey, everyone. It's chapter 47 over here in the Pacific Northwest. And joining me over on the East Coast is JJJ.
Hello.
All right. There we go. Perfect. And then also joining me here over by the East Coast is Kanmai. How you doing?
East Coast. Again.
So-
It's me, East Coast Conmai. Hey, forget
It's
about
West
it.
Coast. West Coast Kanmai. All right. Listen.
East
The
Coast
fact-
J, West Coast K.
Listen.
Oh,
Given-
come on, we gotta
No,
use
don't
Given
this.
my
say that.
issues with times recently, I just want to make sure we're all right. Okay. Good. We're all here. We're present. We're about to have ourselves some fun time. So that's good.
Chapter, I gotta say, I don't know if you prepared a really smooth radio voice, but you pulled it off in spades, and I appreciate it.
Well, I did radio for a long time.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. I was from South Carolina originally, so I would talk like this if I allowed myself to be more.
That I'm not 100% surprised about. You do speak with a bit of a southern charm.
I appreciate. Well, it's why I say y'all all the time too. So.
Sure, I don't know, like, I always just kind of assumed that maybe y'all went over to the West Coast at some point.
No. That's just me bringing it out here. Yeah. So that's my fault. But yeah, first of all, thank you two for joining this bracket reveal stream for bonus round 2023 for SoulCalibur 6, and also a big thank you to those over at pgw.tv, Kamazono, and his special guest Yotoro, who's going to be over there as well. I also wanted to briefly mention a thank you to Kudo-sama for his efforts, and I also wanted to send out a heartfelt, condolences over to Tamonegi, I believe is how you pronounce it. That I heard that he was having some problems with his dog, and so he was not going to be able to join us at bonus round 2023. And says someone who owns multiple dogs, or I should say, he takes care of multiple dogs, that my heart goes out to him. So now that I've put us on a bummer note, how about we get into some fun stuff, I guess?
That's a
It's
huge
unfortunate.
bummer.
I hope things end up going better.
Yeah, but yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that too, just because we wish that everyone could be here for the holidays, and I know that a lot of people had tried to come out here, and some of them were just unable to do so. But yeah, for those that are coming, I think that we're going to have something very special planned for them. I've worked really hard on making sure that there was good dinner itinerary, things to see, things to do. And as far as the folks that are coming out here that are not from overseas, you've been to my events before. I'm probably going to go overboard with trying to make sure the community has fun. I look forward to seeing all of you at the pre-party. Thank you for your patience if you don't see much of me, because I will be running around trying to make sure that everything goes right with Secret Boss Santa while we're there as well.
Yeah. No, you do a crazy amount of work for these events. I think they're gonna be in for a treat as far, especially like the players that haven't been to one of these events. You're gonna be like, wow, this is not a tournament. This is like it's actually pretty sweet. It's more of an experience than it is necessarily like, oh, show up, get smoked in bracket, walk away.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm trying to go for.
To be an experience, not necessarily just a tournament.
Yeah.
For real.
Well, I mean, the community is the most important part, which is why it's not lost on me that we hold this around the Christmas holidays and how important that is to a lot of people. I mean, you are choosing to spend time with us during what is one of the most important times of the year at this event, which means that I owe you everything humanly possible within my power. That's just how I feel. But beyond that, we should probably get to the bracket and start talking about that, since that's what folks are really here for, not me waxing philosophically about the nature of the holidays. So, beyond that, let's, Chuck, if you can pull up.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
You ready?
I honestly don't know if I am, but I guess I'll be as ready as I can possibly be.
Okay.
All right. There it is on screen. I see it. It's it's terrifying and it's
like a spooky ghost.
It's like a spooky.
Oh no!
It's the ghost
Why did I
of
decide to
Christmas
play it like
Future.
this?
Not quite.
Yeah, we are gonna.
Yeah, the Ghost of Christmas Future is the scariest one. You guys know the story.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, when seeding these brackets, I first want to say that, from a TO's perspective, it is, skill is a lot of times players get upset whenever their number in the bracket doesn't coincide to what they think their skill should indicate. And if I was to have seeded everyone based on their skill for bonus round 2023, then every single person that's from their own same region would have killed each other off before we even got to winners quarters.
Yeah.
So there were two people that obviously were going to be seeded 1 and 2, and that was Incendiate, and then I believe it's pronounced Nico Yogi. Is that correct?
Neko Yogi.
I was always under the impression it's Neko Yogi, but honestly, I've never heard it spoken out loud before.
Yeah,
it's usually a box.
Okay,
like literally.
We'll say Neko Yogi at that point. Then.
I do apologize ahead of time if it turns out that I've been saying his name wrong for the past 10 years.
Listen, I'm the stereotypical American here. I'm gonna butcher lots of words. So.
Well, this is also why one of the hidden... I hate so many things about my gamertag name, and this is one of the things that I really like about it, is that it's a lot like those Korean pop groups that get so popular that go out of their way to make sure that their names are overly easy to say, regardless of language barrier.
Yeah, absolutely. So, back to this portion here, part of it was the skill set at the top part, and then the next part of it was demographics. In terms of where people were located, I wanted to make sure training partners didn't necessarily run into each other right off the bat. And I think that based on the 2 pools that you're about to see, that I have done the best as humanly possible as I could do in that regard. So this is Pool A1. Pool A1 is going to start at noon for our competitors on December 16th, Saturday. And I believe that means that it will be broadcasted at 5 a.m. in Japan Standard Time on December 17th. And frankly, y'all are the ones that should be discussing these matchups. If you got questions about it, go for it. Beyond that, let me turn it over to JJJ and Conway.
Well, we could always just go top to bottom, talk about each individual potential setup that we're seeing.
Sure.
Okay.
Conway, does that feel good for you?
That sounds great. All right, let's let it rip. Are we going from the top of the bracket? So we're gonna.
I was looking at top left with It's Time to Duel versus Seasonal Drake as the first thing. Is that what you were looking at?
Yeah, looking at exactly that. So in Time to Duel, actually one of the great, kind of up and coming commentators for our game. I believe he got his most of his notable work is actually not notable, but most of his primary work has been Killer Instinct. But he came along, I think, in Summer Jam 2 or 3 years ago. I said hi to him, and then I word vomited all over him literally every matchup possible, because I guess he was kind of the one guy that was we didn't know him exactly in Calibur, and then next thing you know, he's a Calibur head. So I'm really pleased to see him.
The first experience I had with Time to Duel was when I found out that I was going to be co-commentating with him for the top 8 of NEC 2021, the one that Nathan won against Rip City. Was that 2021? Okay. And he was commentating with me with top 8, and he said that he was very nice. He was very gracious to me at the end of it, because we didn't know each other. We didn't really talk outside of the top 8 beforehand. And he was very happy about my ability to just kind of pontificate on what players needed to do at different points during the match. And I attribute the fact that he's continued to be in the SoulCalibur community to me. Yeah,
it's that you absolutely are the crux of it. Actually, he's from Maryland, so realistically,
I think we both know
he's a boom student, so he's actually kind of a secret threat. Every one of those guys up there they're good at the game. It's because a pretty tightly knit community, and they have a top player to kind of beat it into them, how to get good at the game. And I believe
he's still playing Raphael.
He's playing Zoss now. No, he plays Raphael. I messed that up. So yeah, I should be a Raph player. Which is, I think that's an interesting conundrum, because I think if you're fresh with Raphael, that character is you either are a person nobody knows, or you're a godlike Silas.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
You got your Silas, you got your Spectre Child. I feel like I'm forgetting one. I don't really know if we can consider Jimbo a Raphael player anymore, can we?
Not anymore.
No offense to Jimbo, but surely his other 2 characters have kind of outshined Raphael at this point.
And it's not a guest character. We can't talk about Jimbo and the
that's
a real
true,
character.
that's true.
Yeah, it's important.
Going up against Seasonal Drake, you don't happen to know who that is, do you?
Yeah, well, I did a little look up on FG Combo. God bless that website. I believe he's from Colorado. He got like fourth at a monthly in 2019, but he doesn't have that many events under his belt. But he did go to DTN and got 13th, which I would imagine is probably a little bit past 0-2.
Wow, so really heavy traveler to go from Colorado to bonus round to defend the North. That's pretty extreme stuff. And you said 2019, so he's a pre-pandemic person.
Yeah, he's played a couple times in the pre-pandemic.
There's not many of us left.
And I'm pretty sure I've seen this dude in chat. So,
sure.
I unfortunately don't exactly remember what he played off the top of my head. His picture.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be a matter of like which person can typically at that level. I find the person who wins, the person who is favorited, is the person who is able to play their game plan before the other person plays theirs.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Time to Duel is able to do that. I do have to say, though, it is rather unfortunate for both of them, seeing as how whomever wins is going to be setting up against the highest seed that we have in the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a bit of a rough draw, but what can you do?
I don't know how to really start with this one. Incendiate is like double Evo champion. He consistently smokes in WNF, which is pretty crazy considering he's like on the opposite side of the coast and doesn't always have the best internet. He plays like a million characters basically at top level. He like out of spite picked up. I remember when people rated Geralt like really low on like some random tier list. Decides to take the character and then literally changes the entire metagame around that character. Like, by himself.
Yeah, he found a way of playing Geralt in a way that is incredibly aggressive, which I don't think is something that people were expecting. I think one of the reasons, and I've talked about this before, that a character like Geralt was rated so poorly, and a character like Ivy was rated so highly as the game continued, is because we started playing online and Parsec only. And I think that Ivy is a character that is, out of all the characters in the roster, is most heavily catered towards in an online environment. Second, that makes it harder, like, you know, a character that has a lot of things that are relatively difficult to punish, has a lot of zoning tools that if you can't walk and block suddenly become a lot stronger, not to mention being able to break command grabs, and doing a lot of damage on individual hits. Meanwhile, Geralt is a counter hit hunter. I can't think of a style that gets more heavily impacted by online gameplay than something like that, and doesn't really do a whole lot of damage outside of set situations off of individual hits. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people were thinking that Geralt wasn't really all that strong, when in reality he still has a lot of fundamental strengths that a lot of people sleep on. Yeah. It's possible that we may not, I'd be surprised by this, but it is important to note, we may not even see that character out of Incendiate. Typically he plays the character that he feels like playing on the day. Yeah. So we may see Ivy, we may see X. I doubt we'll see anybody else, but probably one of those three.
Yeah, probably between those three characters. But they're all played at like the absolute like tip top of the of their game. Like it's weird to see somebody who's like a character master of like an edge master of like three different characters simultaneously.
Yeah, not to mention you're talking about transferring over from one to the other within the same set. Especially when you have characters that are so diametrically opposite, like X and Ivy, that is a real rough, speaking from personal experience, that is a rough adaptation to make within the set itself. To go from infinite keep out because this character is terrifying when she gets in, to suddenly I'm the one who has to chase. There's some lag time there, real world life lag time, and trying to figure out the kinds of options that you want to be going with, or, you know, the opposite of that. So it can be very tough.
Yeah, so whoever wins between those two is about to experience perhaps what is probably the scariest thing in Calibur, which is like, wow, I have to like learn really fast on the fly. So I guess moving down, just to Winners Round, with the Winners Round 2 section, we have Giraffe Kinkles versus Dill Muncher. This is actually kind of timely. It's almost like it's perfectly set up. One Giraffe Kinkles, he's probably like he's one of the more notable Setsuka mains. But I feel like he's like not at that point where he's accessing the parts of the character that are like super nuts, but he's so solid that it's really hard to like, I can't really downplay him. But yeah, he also looks like Super Akuma of all things, which is really funny. It's a very interesting crossover.
He kind of is and he isn't. Out of all the Setsuka players that I've played against, save for one, He's the one that has really shown a certain level of the technical optimization that the character is able to pull off. But I'm just speaking of my own personal opinion. I find that where he lacks tends to be in just generalized neutral and defense and fundamental gameplay. Sometimes that matters. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes he's able to run over somebody before they even get a chance to breathe. I think he got... Oh, man, I'm trying to remember. I think he got third at Kumite in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. That's the last time I can remember him playing in a tournament. I apologize if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, I can't remember any time that he's played outside of that. Very surprised that he's going to a tournament across the country, so I'm really happy to see the level of kind of player that bonus round attracts.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit more about Dill Muncher, because that's more in your neck of the woods.
Oh, so like the irony about the Dill Muncher thing is that when I was talking about Geralt, a lot of why we think about Geralt the way we do is actually due to the fact of Dill Muncher. Dill Muncher was onto something with Geralt, which is that he played this character incredibly aggressively and just like always doing crazy, like I forgot the stance, the one where you walk forward and you have the shield, right? That was like his calling card since the beginning. Like, and it's been something that when I saw Incendiate incorporate a little bit of that into the solid game plan, it was like, it blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, Dill Muncher was right the entire time. That this character had potential to be like, just basically play like a jerk the entire time. So yeah, he's basically kind of like the set piece that really establishes the storyline of Geralt's aggressive playstyle. But for them to meet hypothetically in bracket is going to be hilarious to me because I really want to see that matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Dill Muncher is one of my favorite stories that came out of here in the Pacific Northwest because I think he kind of exemplifies how the Pacific Northwest becoming as strong as they have. Because when I first found Dill Muncher, he was a Siegfried main, but at the time we had Scientific, Outlaw, and someone else playing Siegfried. So he was like, I don't want to be the fourth Siegfried main and also be the worst one. So I'm going to switch off this character and started playing Geralt. And he did. He did not do the best out of everyone here in the PNW, and I think he was kind of down on himself because he wasn't having the results that people like Toothpaste and Outlaw and Art Graves and others were having. And then he went and played Wednesday Night Fights, I believe it was, and everyone saw how strong he was, and it just something clicked in his head mentally. He was like, wait a minute, I don't suck. Like, I'm actually doing well at this game. My region's just been very strong. And I'm going to quote Linkhorse here because I thought that it ties into what you were saying, Conmai. Linkhorse had saw him play, and he said, I think Dill Muncher is the only person that plays Geralt correctly. I thought
he said that when he was out with you guys?
I mean, he said it after I believe he saw him play him online.
Huh.
Yeah. And, I mean, this was before Incendiate had picked him up and stuff like that. But, yeah, we had called Dill Muncher, a.k.a. Sweet Pickle D, the kosher closer. We had called him, you know, the quinsational Geralt, because he would just constantly attack with Quinn. And then, like you said, it became this thing.
Yeah. Like, literally his calling card. Really cool stuff.
So it sounds like that's going to be kind of the tail of the tape with regards to that matchup is, will Giraffe Cankles be aware of how to deal with that kind of armor? The fact of the matter is, Setsuka doesn't necessarily have the speed to deal with an option like that, just simply overwhelm Geralt to the point where he'll never be able to pull something like that off. So if he's going to constantly be able to go with the 4KK into armor stances, and Giraffe isn't going to be able to deal with it appropriately, that might be the other way around, where Giraffe is typically the kind of person who overwhelms his opponent with a lot of stuff before they get a chance to breathe. Geralt's only going to need about half a bar before that whole thing is going to land him sunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. I guess we could move on with this. Let's see. El Bukis versus Charlo. This is where I'm starting to get a little bit fuzzy. So, El Bukis has played a couple WNFs this year, but seems to be primarily located in the Northwest majors. Has got they got like a second or third place at Wild West TC. I've never heard of that tournament before, but they don't have that many tournaments under their belt. I'm honestly, I cannot remember what they played, so I feel kind of bad. And
yeah, El Bucas and Charlo are kind of in the same boat for me too, frankly.
Okay, yeah, I just looked up Charlo and I cannot find their name on FG Combo, so yeah. They're complete dark horses. They might be secretly
people
killers,
who maybe showed up for a different game, decided to enter SoulCalibur as well, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not looking at the full Smash GG, but we'll see.
But either way, I feel like this is the first time that Heaton has entered American soil, potentially in the past 35 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's like straight. That's almost like ironic. Like the literal anchor point of American Westerners that travel to like anywhere near Asia. Like he's our pal Heaton for a reason. That guy has saved my life a million times in Japan, just by being there and guiding me to stake Mia. Like, man, like
Heaton is the personification of American imperialism.
Yeah.
He is a true blue American who has shown up into another country, and he's like, "This is mine now."
I know.
Well, yeah, I adore Heaton to death. I can't wait to drink with him.
He's amazing, dude.
I will say that is such that top half of the bracket there between Art Graves, Heaton, Incendiate, Giraffe Cankles, even Dill Muncher. I mean, it's funny that's still incredibly strong, and I don't think that it's even the nastiest one that we have coming up.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, no.
Definitely feel that way.
Heaton getting second at EVO Japan, he's not really somebody who enters a lot of tournaments, primarily because of the distance that we see him from. I don't think he really joins any of like the online stuff. I will see him from time to time going into some of the other Asian streams that I'm familiar with that still stream on Twitch. God, I'm trying to remember, like, you got Kura and Hyunmu and Akapo, all of those. Flash God, I can't remember which ones he would often enter, but sometimes he'd be playing some of those people for hours, and so that was always really fun.
It's crazy because, like, I guess for people who are uninitiated, he's one of the I feel like he's probably one of the premier Siegfrieds, but he's like hidden. He's just he's always been there like a father figure, being like, Siegfried's played this way, but really you play him like Heaton,
at least since SE5, yeah.
Yeah, and Heaton is like credited of like like when you go back turn, and you're like, I forgot the name of the stance, but we call that the Heaton for a reason. Like he's been pioneering like parts of the characters, like flashiest stuff, but it's backed up with like just solid play. When I played him in casuals and Evo, like around Evo Japan time, I knew, I was like, oh yeah, he's not washed up by him like at all. Like there's something about Caliber players that have gone like forever, like between two games, and then you play them and you're like, oh yeah, I can't mash on this dude at all. He will condition me. No matter how good the reward I will get, he'll make me stop doing it and then just bully me to death. Yeah, like he's a really, really strong player. And like the fact that he got second at EVO Japan in a tournament that is like was just stacked with like insane like first to one gimmickry, it was nuts because he slowed the game down a lot. I was watching him play. I was like, what? He's not like falling into the Siegfried traps that we often see in the West where they just like okay, I got stances, I go crazy. It's like, no, he's able to space you. He's able to do all the quintessential parts of the game plan with like this weird elegant mastery that is hard to describe. But yeah, he's up there for a reason. He's not washed up. He's hella good.
Yeah.
Back when I played him in SoulCalibur 5, he was actually one of my pretty common practice partners at the beginning of SoulCalibur 5. This is back when the online was still playable for a certain amount of people until eventually it just started disconnecting you for every single game if you were playing against somebody too far away. And he was playing Siegfried, and he was across the screen. He was back turned from me. I was playing Ezio, and I threw out crossbow bolts on him over and over again, and he either GI'd or sidestepped in stance every single one of them for, I'm going to say, a good 10 seconds. of just me constantly barraging him with crossbows, and I quit the character not too long after.
Yeah, and I mean, just one more final notation on Heaton there is that Heaton is from the PNW, and there is a person that is in the second pool that we'll be talking about that had fought. I mean, Heaton had been here competing even before 5, and then left to go to Korea. So it's been very nice to try to help reinvigorate PNW for whenever he returns home. There's something SoulCalibur going on for when he was sitting here grinding it out and playing it when the scene was as small as it was at that time.
Alrighty, I guess we're moving downwards. We have Kikalik, who he actually showed up Evo 2020.
Kikalik, what a dinosaur!
Yeah, that's an old name. We're talking like I don't know the history, but I knew when I saw him, I was like, that guy's played Caliber for a hot minute. I think that name
is about. I hope he's watching the stream, or I hope he does, because he should know that I'm aware of when he started, and I remember that he is as old as oil. He's as old as the bones that eventually ground up into what we use to make our cars go now. And so I don't think that you got past me, Kikalik. You left for a little while in SE5. I'm still here doing the same thing from 35,000 years ago.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's a seasoned veteran for sure. I think he plays Zoslamel right now.
At the moment, Zoslamel, yes.
Yeah, but I just did a Google search on him, and yeah, I found that he's played a ton of characters, so he's probably...
Yoshimitsu was his character in previous games, but he's basically been playing Zoslamel this whole time. He was on my team in the most recent Boom League, however long ago that was at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's practicing up, he's training up. I've been seeing him on a handful of streams, so I'm happy to see just a really, really old person still able to handle the concepts of looking at a screen.
Jeez, that's so messed up.
So good for him.
So you're telling me he's like American Joshin? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm just saying that he's basically just me, but
yeah, okay.
from a different part of the world.
So he's playing Shatani, who's showed up WNF a couple of times, I think. I unfortunately do not remember. Oh wow, Orange County. Mm-hmm. Oh my! Wait! I think I know who this is. This might be who used to be Kikoman. Oh my god, he's an anime player.
Yeah, Shatani had also signed up for Uni.
Oh my god,
Grand Blue.
Dude, this guy's the homie. I can't believe. I feel so bad. Like genuinely, this guy's like super competitive. I love talking to him because like every time I would roll up on him like at WNF, we'd just be like, "Yo, man, this guy did this to me," and I kicked his ass. And it was just like he has this energy of like a guy who's like he loves the game, but he ain't gonna take shit from nobody. And it's just I'm so glad he's gonna play Calvert. It's like, this is kind of like a weird reuniting moment because we haven't really seen each other since the old Santa Ana WNF. So I'm not sure who he plays. I think we bonded over Aswell, so I got a feeling he might be playing Aswell. I'm not 100% sure though. We'll see how this goes, but yeah, playing a little bit. That's gonna be an interesting matchup because like literally like probably the oldest dinosaur versus the youngest like ape. Is that conceivably possible? Is what
dinosaurs versus apes? You guys wanted it, we're giving it to you. Classic King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whoever wins that goes into Faustian's own Artgraves, the premier talkie. Like I would say like the West Coast Omega, right? It's probably that's not a weird description if I know.
No, I mean I wouldn't say that it's a weird description. I think that Artgraves is not recognized enough for the sheer amount of knowledge that he has about the game. I think a lot of people focus on the knowledge of he's a talkie mechanic by heart, and I've seen him disprove so many people in talkie discords that have said such and such is this, and he's like, no, it's this. They want to challenge him to prove it, and he proves it right. And but I've seen him discuss characters that even Tira and in full detail before too. He doesn't know every single in and out of it, but he's very well learned about the game. And I think that the biggest difference between Omega and Art Graves as competitors, frankly, I mean, first of all, Omega does have amazing placements and stuff like that. But I think that Art Graves doesn't run as hot as Omega, as I'll say. Let's leave it.
Yeah, he definitely struggles a lot more in tournament gameplay.
Yeah,
he runs into the same kinds of people in Wednesday night fights and always has kind of a tough time trying to end the game out. A bit of a lack of a clutch factor. I say.
You know what? I'll even I want to add on to that. It is a meme at this point that Art Graves will die with 2 sticks of butter every single time.
Nah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But for a cool Art Graves story for people that don't know, I think he got like a top 8 placement at a Texas Showdown a couple years ago.
Yes.
He injured his hand. He switched to pad, and for some magical reason, like he was like, because like this guy plays on the fattest, and I mean the biggest possible like mutated stick that ever. It's literally 50 pounds. It was insane. Like you could kill several people by letting people hold it.
Yeah,
it's a literal weight. He had to switch to pad because he hurt his arm. And yeah, he played exquisitely. It was shocking. We were like, oh, well, he has this really specialized control. He's going to get smoked. No. Did not happen. That was exact opposite of what had happened at that tournament. So
I also need
Art Graves is still a threat. No question.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that he hurt his hand. He severed tendons. Like, he had a burning blade go through his hand. So it was pretty impressive.
And he just did that on a dare.
Yeah, it was weird.
He just decided to do that because somebody told him that you couldn't.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not true.
It might be true.
No, it was an ocean.
It was sheer force of will and gumption.
That's what the company wants to say.
Yeah.
The OSHA did not think the same way about that.
No. All right. Where are we at?
We're
Probably, if I had to guess, Art Graves is still the favorite against Kikalik. I can't say that that I can remember the last time I saw Art Graves play against or beat Zasalamel. But if both players are just kind of going to go through the same rigmarole that they go through, not necessarily worrying about counterplay of the other person's character, I think I'm going to have to give it to Art Graves by being able to dance all over a relatively slow character like Zasalamel. That's my guess.
I could see that. It seems legit. It's like it's moving down. We have Abyss Commando and Sly Tiger. So Abyss is I'll try to keep this one short. Abyss is like the pentultimate. Like there's a scale of Helix. There's on the far left. Back in the day, you have basically Party Wolf, the most measured version of the character that can possibly exist. And then on the far right of that, you have Abyss Commando, the mashiest, will never wake up normally, just does nothing but raw, uncooked, unseasoned gimmicks left and right. This guy, it's weird. He's the nicest guy on the planet, but man, I hate playing him in bracket because you just don't think Akilik is going to do something that like banal, and he'll just do it. But he's up against probably the strongest offensive player, I think, in the game. Sly Tiger, who was the only person to knock down Neko Yoki at EVO Japan. Sly is...
He pushed him off of his chair or something.
Yeah, he did. He took those tonfas and shoved him up somewhere. It was crazy.
That's not rude.
But yeah, Sly is the guy who probably matches that energy better than anybody. But he has the thing about like Talon is like Talon has a pretty basic get in your face game plan. But the thing that I like about Sly is that his neutral is actually pretty good with the character using what is effectively like the most cobbled together tools possible to make a short range stubby character turn into a mid range monster. So that I give it to Sly purely on that basis because it's like there's almost like a difference in tiers of player in that regard. But like as far as like similarities and pairings, it's like getting 2 bottles of really hot sauce and just pouring them together. Be like, yeah, let's see how this tastes.
But there's a way. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, but they're running in Omega XCN, so see how that pans out.
Well, I just want to mention that I think if there's one way for Sly Tiger to potentially lose against Abyss Commando, it would not be respecting at least one of 3 things. Either not respecting Killick's ability to either wake up sidestep or wake up unblockable a whole lot, not respecting backturn K, and most importantly, not respecting Killick's ability to ring out of nowhere with 2-2B. If he's not going to be respecting a lot of these buttons, then it can be kind of difficult for Talon to be able to sidestep a move like Killick 2-2B with fair consistency. If he's not also block punishing those types of things, he could potentially run into a lot of problems. Assuming he's able to keep those kinds of big swinging options contained, Slide Tiger should be able to contain the matchup well enough to where he'll get to press a whole lot of buttons and Abyss Commander will kind of have to just duck and pray.
Yeah, so it's weird. I feel like Omega is like the quintessential, probably the best hockey in the West. I can't think of anybody else who, like, other than Artgraves, who really holds a candle to that particular.
Woes, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Well, you're not wrong. Shoot.
No.
But well, what do you think like Omega's strengths are? Because I feel like he's just like the consummate. So I'm a little bit too generalist with him.
Well, in terms of his strengths, remember earlier how I said that Kikalik was just like so old that he is the oil that we use to make our cars go? Omega XEN doesn't look it, but this guy is prehistoric. This guy might be the oldest person. That's the end of my sentence.
That's it. So
the sheer level of fiery passion that one can get for being so goddamn elderly is really intense. He's been playing Taki for somewhere between 5 and 6 trillion years. Basically, he actually knew the real life Taki from back in the late 1500s.
Oh my god.
And learned how to play. He was actually the first person I ever met in the SoulCalibur community. When I was 5 years old, I think he was 730. And when we played a set, I said Goo Goo Gaga, because that's all I could say at the time. And he waxed poetic with me about what it was going to be like being peers in the late 5000s.
All right. So who we got next? Grolix and LP Vincent.
That's all Omega XEN is going to get. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's amazing. We cut him off.
Yeah, we're good. That makes sense.
Like, honestly, if you watch any VODs, you'll know that he's like literally like one of the best players of this game.
He makes
right
top
now.
8 at everything that he goes to. I think he even made top 8 at EVO Japan. I would still put him above Sly Tiger. And he's one of the very, very few players that actually performs better in tournament than he does in casuals. It's a pretty rare gift to have.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's true.
How dare you try to cut me off from talking about Omega XEN?
Listen,
I sat here and listened to like 15 different versions of who's great in PNW at the beginning of this bracket. I'm going to goddamn talk about the players in Jersey.
Fair.
Let's go.
Fair.
All right. Well, up next is Grolix versus LP Vincent. Oh my effing god! So Grolix has actually been playing a ton of like SC6 that streams a ton. Has been like they're the first person I think that I've rolled up on FGC Combo that has said to me, "Hey, I play a lot at low kick. I play on at Mighty Mooks. Plays a ton online, but does not get super far. It's kind of like stuck in the like mid-range area. I don't exactly remember off the top of my head what they play, which is unfortunate because they play a ton.
Grolix, I believe it's Nightmare. I apologize if I'm wrong about that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's Nightmare. If it's not, then the egg's on your face, Jay.
Yeah,
but he's still going up against a person who has the opposite problem, which is it's LP Vincent. Except LP Vincent is the Grow of the West Coast. He defined the this guy is a legend in that he just showed up one day at a local event at Bane's house and killed all of us, Signy included. Like, just absolutely obliterated us with the most aggressive but measured Grow I've ever seen, ever played in this game. And then he was the only person at the time during Season 1 to take a Grow and actually put blue into losers in a tournament. That in and of itself is a feat, because we're talking about the absolute pinnacle of Aswell strength versus what is probably a mediocre Grow. This guy is hella good, but he's been like doing real life stuff, but he's been like kind of the staple of the local that I unfortunately can't go to anymore because I work on Fridays.
No.
And yeah, he's still strong. Like really, like I just keep grinding games against this dude. And I just cannot beat this guy like consistently.
Who are you gonna put as the favorite for that match?
The favorite is Vincent, but without question. Vincent, even at his kind of lowest, is still playing at that like top California level player, which may not mean much to anybody, but back in the day, we did have a lot of strong people. Like this guy is like a top 8 constantly kind of guy, except it is weird because he went to like NEC and he didn't do too hot, but he's been playing a lot more, and I can tell that like the way that he thinks about the game and it approaches the game is the one that makes you feel like, wow, this character seems a lot better than it actually is. And I'm really excited to see a warmed up Vincent versus one that just kind of like came out of going to school and then just showed up and was like, oh, well, I haven't traveled in 4,000 years. But the irony
time
about
zones and traveling can be a bit difficult, which is maybe the reason for his mediocre showing at NEC. So they'll be potentially going up against Toothpaste.
Which is
I don't know
ironic.
who the hell Toothpaste is going to be going up against, who's going to be playing.
Yeah.
Been playing Setsuka as of late. Something tells me that that's... And I'm not going to ask them to confirm or deny. I will just say that my guess is Setsuka is a sandbagging opportunity to just continue to play tournament experience without getting too rusty, but at the same time hold some of the cards for some of the other people that we're going to see later on in the bracket. Typically somebody that you see playing Haomaru or Huang, whichever character they feel is more comfortable in said matchup. Also somebody who likes to use a lot of jank. Toothpaste is also somebody who likes to use a lot of styles where if you're sure that the opponent has no idea what's going on, then -9 Huang is going to be able to overwhelm the opponent pretty quickly.
Yeah, I definitely see that too, because I think that Setsuka is like good fundamentally, but I think at this level, especially at this tournament, you're gonna have to have like an optimized character, and I just don't think it's quite there yet, because like the game plan's relatively simple and structured in a way that isn't like, wow, like we're basically not gonna see like AGB like execution like double just frame AGB kind of stuff. But the irony about this particular matchup is that this is now a local matchup. LP, Vincent, and Toothpaste go to the same local as I do. So
there you go.
It's kind of an interesting like now Southern California team kill. But the local's been kind of dicey. We haven't been able to show up that often, so we'll see how that goes. It'll still be a really interesting match, but it will probably be one that's like I would say a little bit more like weird. If we do get to see that on stream, it's gonna be like, you know, I know that you know that I know kind of thing, because they have played a lot together.
Those are always so difficult to commentate.
Yeah, because they're gonna be like, why did you
just looking at what's going on screen, it just looks like the most wackadoo options over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. So up next we have Nemo and Nemo, the curse of forever not top 8 VTuber / DDR player versus Sabin Deus, the savior of SoulCalibur himself.
Sabin Deus is gonna lose.
Yeah, I think so too. Nemo plays what is effectively the little one tick away from a Vis Commando. Still really filthy, dirty, janky set play, just absolutely frustrating monkey style Keelik, but it's effective, and he can play neutral. He's not like completely brain dead in that regard. However, Nemo's in an interesting position because Nemo has literally been grinding DDR like crazy, and I'm willing to out them because I'm also the same way like this. I barely play Calibur myself sometimes.
How dare he?
But you know, they still got the competitive juices going. I think like going up to this, there's
competitive
pressure.
DDR.
Oh, DDR is like one of the sweatiest games, no pun intended, to ever exist. This
well,
game,
sure, you have to dance a lot.
it's sweaty. Like, trust me when I say this game. This kid played in flip-flops too, which is great. Actually, that wasn't me. He accidentally forgot his shoes, and we played in bracket. That was really funny. Sabin Deus is a Siegfried player that does everything, but perhaps
except win tournament matches.
Win tournament matches. But they like it's hard to talk about as a player because we kind of know what's going on in terms of like, okay, unless they've been secretly grinding, I would be really impressed. I would love to see the upset, to be honest, because this would be the kind of pop-off that I would happily accept. Just because, like, as much as I have a bond with a fellow Californian from the north that also plays the dance game that I love ganging up on players who talk crap that are so and they lose the TOs. So I really want Saban Deus to bring the smoke this time. It would be really fun.
I hope that when Saban Deus signs up for more stuff, his name in the bracket shows up as like Deus, Saban Deus, and then in parentheses afterwards, bless his heart, end parentheses. Oh, that's what happens.
But of course, they're running into what I think is one of the more difficult matchups to even talk about.
Yeah.
PGW's Kamizono. Oh my god. I don't even know where to begin with this guy.
Well, it's kind of an unknown quantity, right? I mean, it's difficult for us to figure out exactly how Kamizono's going to do. I can't remember the last time that he came to an American tournament. I remember watching him all the way since SE5. Yeah. An incredibly clean player, one of the top in a top region of SoulCalibur, and has been for many years. And on top of that, you're talking about somebody who's playing Hilda. Hilda, a character that is, one, very powerful, and two, virtually unknown to the entire American community. We really don't have any Hilda players that compete at all. So
Rubber Beef, that's it.
Yeah, and Rubber barely competes, honestly.
PNW had a little bit of...
Mathley. Yeah, Mathley played a little bit. But, like, as far as I think this level, especially since, like, this is the same region as
Josh night and day, yeah.
Like, this is, like, literally, like, this... It's kind of like how we didn't understand Geralt until Incendiate picked it back up during the, like, the online era kind of thing. Because, like, well, obviously we had Link Wars and stuff like that, and Dillmuncher, but, like, we might not be ready, but I guess that's the clarion call. It's like time to freshen up on your Hilda knowledge. You're not going to get a lot of block punishment.
How are you going to do that?
you're going to go to horse face.
How does one acquire that information at this point?
You just got to pray.
I have to say, like, I hope I'm wrong, but I got to give it to Kamizono basically the whole way. My default is that Kamizono is going to tear through even our top players. If only due to character ignorance, not to mention possible just player strength. And I will just be surprised when I'm wrong. Because we're talking about a character that a lot of people consider to be top 5 in the whole game, is completely busted in so many different ways, and nobody's really going to be used to that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think also, too, about Kamizono is that, I've seen them practice another character that not a ton of people have experience with, and 2B, but I mean, like you said, if they just stick with Hildy, I think that we're all in trouble regardless.
If I had to guess, if he does go with 2B at some point, I do believe that would be a bit of a mistake. I think we have enough 2B experience, and 2B is also, in my opinion, significantly less strong fundamentally, and so because Hilda I wouldn't necessarily call to be like a jank character. There's like a few jank things about the character, but the fact of the matter is, it's kind of similar to Amy in the sense of all the really good stuff that gets you such high rewards is just good in and of itself. You don't have to rely on stuff that has potential hard answers. 2B is a lot more gimmicky and is significantly worse in terms of frames and in terms of neutral pokes. So if you go with Hilda the whole time, you've got your strengths of just overall fundamental ability that the character has, and 2, you're going to get, with an American community, you are going to get mileage out of people not knowing how to deal with your character ignorance just in general, just like what you're hoping to get with 2B. And you just get it with a much more powerful character. So I feel like 2B would potentially be a mistake.
Yeah, I feel that too. And we're talking about, like, perhaps pinnacle caliber. I know, like, when... I know Nemo, if say Nemo makes it into Kamizono, Nemo's going to be like, wow, I had never felt this many block punishes in my life. Like, they're going to get smothered by all the checks that we sort of talk about as like, haha, we'd love to do that. Like, Kamizono embodies the discipline necessary to make players that play a little bit risky feel like they don't have any agency in the game at all. And I'm kind of excited to see it because, like, that's the thing that I experienced in Japan the most, and it's like it's embodied in one person right here. So that's super, super cool. So next up, we have Noxy and Noxus and Zio. Nox is the knight himself, like the quite literally the knight, because this guy streams at the absolute
Justice.
Like the Batman is SoulCalibur. I don't know, not quite like that far, but like just like a really strong. I think like
you're not actually breaking any of these CSs. No, I am. I swear. Swear to me.
Swear to me. But like grossly underrated player. This guy is, I think, really strong. I think tournament shakes are a thing. with Nox, but like Nox's Ivy, like
he did
when
pretty
like
well
cool,
at the was it the last bonus round? What tournament was it where he ended up getting like third or fourth, something like that?
Let me double check this.
Like just under people like Zeph and Ramon and stuff. So I could have sworn that when he has competed in tournaments, which is relatively rare, he does fine. I mean,
he does
playing
strong.
Ivy, a little bit of Setsuka, I think.
Yeah, WNF got third and 33. Just plays like just
I
really
was
strong.
talking about like the offline tournaments. I wish I could remember which one it was, but
let's see, there has been a lot of offline stuff I haven't seen in a hot minute.
Yeah. Yeah, it was last year at best.
Yeah, nothing offline from what FG Combo might not be updated, but yeah, but no, but like I think it's mostly out of conversation standpoint. I think it's because like they don't really show up. He doesn't really show up to like tournaments that often, but really good Ivy player. Like I'm not memeing this.
Yeah,
Nox is one of those Ivies that makes me think that character is really messed up and really strong in a way that like you just don't get time to breathe. You really don't. And you're gonna not gonna be able to get in, and just every interaction you're gonna get is just gonna feel terrible. So yeah, there's that.
Zio, I believe, is a Talon player. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
Zio's a Talon player that we just recently found in the PNW.
Oh.
So they had played, and I want to say
sounds like you were mining for gold, and you found a nugget of Zero.
That is essentially what it's like when you're trying to recruit people to your very niche game scene. Is panning for gold in a river of just, shitty Street Fighter or something. But yeah.
Yeah, Zio's actually been a Mighty Mook staple for quite some time. Has a ton of entries in there.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, we never heard of him. And but no, we found him, and we've been getting him to come out to local stuff, and just seems like a nice guy. But yeah, he plays Talon, and he's fairly good. I think that this matchup against him versus Nox, I'm going to say that I believe Nox has the advantage. Yeah. But I think that Zio's going to learn a lot from this tournament. That's for sure.
I think that's going to be fun. Is like, especially like just kind of roping into the way this tournament ends up working. Even if you get smoked in bracket, it's not the end of the tournament. You get to play a lot. Yeah. And you'll always come out, especially if you're even remotely salty, you will come out like significantly better. So I think this is going to be like, for me, literally going to this tournament makes me have enough gas for the next year of commentary, because I just I'm like, I know nothing. I love playing this game.
Well, there's going to be plenty of games at the pre-party, and then all day Sunday is going to be casuals with all these folks that have traveled from everywhere, plus the Santa. So it's going to.
I don't presume any of those other casual matches or anything are going to be streamed. Is that going to be a possibility?
Probably not.
I understand. I always just have to ask.
Yeah, it's just that so much of the streaming resources are going to top 8s for the other games. But yeah, whoever wins between Nox and Zio is going up against the progenitor of the New York CPR, Rip City Outlaw.
So this is the question that I'm going to have to toss to you guys. Who is the favorite against Nox versus Rip City?
So here's the problem. Nox is really strong, but I think they have like tournament jitter kind of thing, versus the guy Rip City is like so weird. Rip City just like becomes a different monster in bracket. There's something about this dude in particular that like has this sense of like how people behave during high tension and is able to capitalize it consistently. I think the number of times people have been blasted by like backstep raw CE round 3 is like innumerable, and it's just because it's like there's something in that dude's head that gets it. I think if Nox gets a lot of momentum, that's great. But you're talking about a guy who manages to get momentum out of nowhere and plays a character with Siegfried that is able to carry that momentum all the way to the finish line. So I think just based off of what I've seen in Calibur in general, given that the game favors people who are able to capitalize on that, I would pick Rip. But Nox is going to take it to the bitter end. It's just going to come down to possibly Jank, honestly, at this point. Because, like, Noxus is really solid, and we'll get those steamrolling rounds. But the question is, can you maintain that with Ivy over a long period of time?
Yeah.
Against Siegfried, it's like, that's usually where it gets a little dicey, because it's like, Siegfried could just do it. Like, there will just be one knockdown and be like, oh my god, he's in my stuff. But
yeah,
that's mine
like
also.
you said, a part of the thing about Outlaw's mental, and as someone who watched him, essentially his entire SoulCalibur career up close, I remember when he was having his local feud with Q, the old Nightmare player, and one time where Q was going to take the set once again from Outlaw, Outlaw just lost his mind in the sense of where whatever game plan he was doing, he just threw the whole thing out the window and said, I'm just going to play raw and aggressive and basically not care. But not care in a way where he didn't care if he win or lose. It was just like basically like an anime, I'm going as wild as humanly possible type deal. And it worked. He didn't end up he didn't end up winning the set. But for a second there, it was just that he was too far behind to win from the deficit he was at. But it freaked Q out. He was about to lose, and it was just luck that, well, it wasn't luck, but it was good that he only had like one more hit to go in order to finish off Outlaw. And then, of course, Outlaw plays Siegfried. And as I've memed, constantly over the years, rule number one of SoulCalibur is don't get hit by Siegfried. And Outlaw knows precisely how to take advantage of every single hit against any wall whatsoever to just do an absolute truck of damage. I think that if we did get to see Outlaw versus Kamizono, given, what we know about Kamizono, that would be an incredible match. But
yeah, I think it's diametric opposites fighting each other too.
Exactly.
Like discipline versus just pure madness.
I have to admit, I think Kamizono wins that pretty easily.
Ooh.
I think that I can't argue that, especially given, like you said, the inexperience of Hildy, even though he has some of it. But we'll see.
I'll be delighted to see that I'm wrong, but I just feel like Kamizono is really going to tear through some people. It really seems like he's going to be taking this tournament seriously, and that's going to be very, very tough.
I mean, Kamizono said on stream that he wants it to be that where grand finals is him and Neko Yogi.
And obviously, that's the main thing we have to avoid.
Yeah, we're gonna try, but can we do that? I don't know.
I think it's possible. I give ourselves like a 50-50 chance of making it something other than Japan versus Japan.
Okay.
Here's my strategy for that. So this is not me trying to talk about how generous I am, but so the Friday pre-party, given that Japan is such a big fan of beer, and that Portland and the Pacific Northwest in general have a reputation in Japan because we produce so much beer, so many different types of beer here, that I plan for the pre-party for there to not be a single repeating beer inside of the fridge. I am looking to have anywhere from 50 to 80 different beers.
Wow.
And that way the Japanese players can look at all the different beers and be like, all right, this is one I want to try. This is one I want to try. But maybe they'll have too many before the tournament, and we could definitely win.
I see. You're trying to win via hangover. I respect that. It's very American Stratamus.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
If I had to guess, Kamizono is the favorite over Rip City Outlaw. If I had to pick a favorite going back up the bracket, I think Toothpaste. I hate to say this, but I feel like Toothpaste takes it over Omega XEN.
Wow, that's bold. Okay.
If there's one way, with all due respect to Kwong, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, if there's one way to beat Omega XEN, it's on character ignorance. Okay. And Toothpaste has that hands down. If I have to choose between Arcgraves and Heaton, I gotta go with Heaton.
I'm going with Heaton, yeah.
There's something about him. Incendiate is still the favorite to win the whole tournament. Would I be... I'm trying to think, would I be completely thrown out of my chair if I found out that Giraffe Cankles beat Incendiate in a 2 out of 3? No, it would be a decent surprise. It would be an upset for the tournament. Yeah. It would be a bigger upset than Rip City beating Kamizono. Let me put it that way.
That seems fair. Yeah.
Omega XEN beating Toothpaste would be the least surprising quote-unquote upset out of the ones that I've said so far.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I'm reminded of Pantocrator versus Manta last year. The more we speak about Kamizono versus Rip City Outlaw, is that Panto knew how to play against Manta, or play against Valdo. Like, he understood the matchup, he knows what he needs to do, etc., etc. But then he played against Manta, and Manta did Manta things. And Panto realized it and said, I have to throw everything I know about Valdo out the window and play against this person. And so I wonder if we could potentially see some of that happen to the game plan for Kamizono versus Outlaw.
Yeah, as in Kamizono will have to completely change his outlook on the game specifically to play against Rip City?
You know, I don't want to go that far, but I think that Outlaw's style of gameplay is probably the antithesis to how Kamizono approaches the game, and I wonder if it'll challenge the way that if he can adapt to it that quickly, or if Outlaw's just too wild and Kamizono knows how to just handle that effectively.
See, it's just tough for me to don't really get on board with it, if only because Siegfried is not weird. He's not a particularly weird character like Valdo is. It's very. I find that he has a much lower ceiling when it comes to outlandish play styles. You can certainly work on the timing, and you only need to hit somebody a handful of times. But I think it would be really fun if you can somehow if you can ensure there are player cams during that set. So that we can see Kamizono making some of those meme faces if he ends up backdashing into a Siegfried CE or something like that. That would be fun.
We'll have to have someone recording it for sure.
Yeah.
And kind of add to that, I also kind of agree because they have Burner, and Burner has a really strong Siegfried. So like I don't think that like Kamizono will be blindsided by Siegfried in particular, but I do think that like when it comes down to clutch factor, like Rip City, like. It's not going to be what we talk about here. It's going to be that moment where something crazy happens and he just gets this bonkers timing that makes no sense in any universe, and it works against that one moment and swings the momentum, maybe carries a couple rounds. If Kamizono can't stabilize, that's the condition I see that like Rip City Outlaw creates the upset. But yeah, like on paper, like Kamizono has the matchup knowledge against pretty much everybody in this bracket, I think, to the degree that it probably might be what would at least be considered the way, like he won't be out of his comfort zone up until probably much later in the bracket.
Yeah, I think the very end of these brackets would be Incendiate versus Heaton and Toothpaste against Kamizono. And I do not know how any of those matches. I could take a guess and say Incendiate and Kamizono, but if I was wrong about any of those, I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
So I agree too. I think that the top of the bracket is probably going to be, I mean, Incendiate's going to clear, obviously. And I mean, if Omega did beat Toothpaste, what do you think about Omega versus Kamizono?
I still feel like Kwang loses.
Who
has he played that plays Hilda? Name a Hilda player that Kwang has played against.
So Incendiate and Kamizono clearing winner side top 8. Then you have.
I just have to admit, I don't think that it's a foregone conclusion that Incendiate beats Heaton. I am not convinced that is the case.
I feel this in my bones. Yeah, I feel that so
much. Is he the favorite? Sure, because we just saw him lose to Neko Yogi, and I assume it would be the exact same matchup. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I
don't think he would want to. I don't think Incendiate would want to play Geralt against Heaton because Heaton has his own Geralt. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's awesome. It's really funny. And so I think it would be X versus Siegfried, and so I would still... But I remember that match. I remember commentating that match. Neko Yogi didn't just win it convincingly. Like, it's really tough. I give it 6-4 to Incendiate, but I would not be surprised if Heaton is the one that we see in winners.
We could potentially see, too, if it goes the way that you're thinking, that... if Omega is knocked out, if Omega clears Toothpaste and then is knocked out by Kamizono, then we could see Art Graves versus Omega in losers' quarters.
Oh, that'd be insane.
Yeah, I think Kwang wins that one.
And then also, if Heaton is knocked into the bottom bracket by Incendiate, and if Rip City is knocked into the bottom bracket by Communist,
yeah.
losers
mirror
quarterfinal will be Heaton versus Rip City Outlaw.
That would be the
I
best
think
Siegfried
Heaton
mirror
wins
to
that
ever
one, too.
exist.
Yeah, it would be cool, and I think Heaton wins that one too.
I think it'll depend on a couple of factors with Heaton, but I think that
content.
I am never going to count him out. But let's go ahead and jump over to Pool B. I would think.
All right, here we
Pool
go.
B, baby. This one's fun. I'm really excited about this.
Pool
this
B for baby.
It's not baby pool. This is not a baby pool. How dare you? All right. So up first in Pool B, it's gonna be K-Smooth versus Pink Panic. Both of these guys are like kind of fresh and up and coming in WNF a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't think either of them has really breached past that dreaded like consistent O2
Winner's
space that
quarters
I also
mark,
occupy. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like it's a cursed place to be. I only speak out of it as someone who has experienced it perhaps more than anybody else in this game. That the WNF doldrums are a real thing, and it's really hard, but they're motivated, right? These are the kind of people that I'm actually really excited to see play casuals, and then suddenly be like way better than they've ever seen, and just be like, wow, well, look at this! Like they've been playing in crappy online for so long that now they're monsters. Between K-Smooth and Pink Panic, I think K-Smooth is a maxi player.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yes, I do believe K-Smooth is a maxi.
K-Smooth is a maxi because unfortunately I've been rude enough to get them mixed up between him and who's the other maxi that's been smoking right now. Oh my god, I'm going crazy. Joe, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel bad. And then
there's
Pink
like
Panic.
Joe, there's DD Green, and then obviously Coffee.
Yeah. You say that with such spite. I love it.
Yeah, well,
Coffee isn't in Wednesday Night Fight stuff, right?
Yeah. He was like West Coast-ish, but not in WNF much. But like,
because Coffee, he's one of those guys who only enters one tournament a year. I think Defend the North is like the tournament that he enters.
Yeah, and he got
that's
second.
why I wasn't thinking about it.
Died to a tech trap. as
he got second both times, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's almost kissed Ramon. The crown.
Yeah, he's pretty close though. I feel like if he shows up as defensive, anyway, he's not even in this tournament. Whatever. Pink Panic, I think, plays a garden variety of Greeks. I think they play Sophie.
A Greek salad, if you will.
Yeah, basically Greek salad. And then Cassandra. I'm not going to comment too much about it, but that's kind of what's there. I think they're kind of evenly matched, but I think between those two, K-Smooth wins because this is where knowledge checks are god. Yeah. And yeah, I think Pink Panic will probably should do a little bit of research on that character and might come out because they're solid. It's just that they get flustered easily.
Yeah. So Pink Panic was once known as Zengura, and when we first started doing Battle Break here in the Pacific Northwest back in 2019, they were attending the very early ones. They were out there with a number of with all of the original Faustian crew. Life got in the way and they had to drop out, but they have always been watching SoulCalibur from the side, and we kept it going. And so now that they have more time, they have wanted to rejoin, and they have renamed under Pink Panic. But as you said, I don't know what their experience with Maxi has been, because all of their experience with Maxi originally came from a Washington old head by the name of I Hate Video Games. And he has not been out for a while as well, but he actually should be showing up as a spectator, I believe, at the event, which would be pretty cool.
So he does love video games, darn.
Yeah, I know.
Also, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but with all due respect to K-Smooth and Pink Panic, I think whomever wins that is good. Their winner's run ends right there.
Yeah. Neko Yogi, the actual Edgemaster of SoulCalibur 6, one of the absolute monster surprise of coming to bonus round. This unbelievable. I cannot believe I get to see Neko. Like, I don't know what to say. Just watching this dude over the shoulder made me rethink how X was played. And I watch a lot of X being played at a high level, like all the time, like every week.
Yeah, everybody does.
Everybody does, right? But Neko Yogi rewrites the book in a lot of ways. You're going to see some tools that simply neither Zeph nor Incendiate use. And it shows because, and using moves that I think are bad on paper, but it doesn't matter because that's just how damn good the guy is.
the real question is, what kinds of characters do you think that he's going to be switching around at all?
I don't think he needs to switch. He has experience.
Well, that's kind of a shame. I was kind of hoping that we were going to see like what Yutoto does every once in a while, where he'll switch to characters like Survey or Zos or Aswell when he just feels the mood and he feels the matchup is going to benefit him, either character or player-wise. Nekoyogi certainly has the skill and the all-around talent to pull that kind of thing off, and I think that would make it a lot more exciting. But if it's just going to be X-Play, then I guess it's just going to be X-Play.
Yeah, I was going to say that I have done, on my scouting for which I have done, Nekoyogi has been practicing Mitsurugi, Tira, and 2B.
We are so dead. And I said this in like the pre-show. We are done. This tournament is over if he plays Mitsurugi, I think. Because nobody plays Mitsurugi in America.
Well, he also said Tira, right?
Yeah, Tira too, honestly.
We don't really have any Tira either.
Yeah. And Incendiate has good Tira experience, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean a bit. I mean, 8-Way Funds did... But we are talking about an EVO champion winner here.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, there's not much to say about Nekoyogi.
That's a lot of tough stuff. I'd be curious to know if he's going to try and pull some Incendiate type stuff out, where just randomly, out of nowhere, we're going to see like other characters, and that's really going to be tough to try and balance a lot of that kind of stuff. Because again, very similar to Incendiate, X is a very particular character, a very sticky character, a very aggressive character, where you don't have to worry about keep out all that much. And you have to play in terms of your meter, in terms of your stance defense, in terms of your movement. You have to play drastically different against that character than you would a typical mid-range or even long-range character. To bounce from that to backdash only characters like Mitsu and Tira, it's gigantic. It is a very difficult thing to try and wrestle with.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be insane. Like, I'm really excited to see anything Nekoyogi puts out, but yeah, that's good.
And Wanchu was all a bait. Watch
Yeah.
Nekoyogi actually paid off chapter to mention that he's been playing Mitsu and Tira, and it's like those are characters that he was never even entertained. And so Nekoyogi comes into the match against Incendiate and asks for a blind pick, and Incendiate goes into a tizzy because he's like 12 years old and he doesn't know how blind pick works. And he's like, okay, well, I'll just go with this character, and it's like, ha 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 ha, and then he like just picks X, no problems.
Well,
that'd be insane.
I mean, speaking of also like, I mean, here's the match here too in terms of like something that's going to go into a tizzy. Let's talk about Two Swords versus Sane.
Oh my god. Okay, so I hate to say this. Two Swords. Good luck, dude. Sane is the probably the first player that I watched that taught to me that timing is an art form, and that you can dance on people once you realize that they're unpredictable. Sane is the most unpredictable Ivy I've ever seen play the game in the history of the game.
Plays Yoshimitsu equally different from folks and an unpredictable style.
I don't think so. I think he's a meme lord. I actually think that I know what he's going for every single time, and I'm just laughing that he lands it. But I don't think he's unpredictable.
Does, like neutral jump over cross ups and stuff like that. That I have never I've never seen other people really utilize before.
Yeah, he does some.
Yeah, the problem is though, in that particular character matchup, none of that matters because it's Yoshi versus Ivy, and so Yoshi is constantly having to deal with just a gigantic obstacle course over and over again. So all of like the interesting little tidbits of being able to like jump over stuff on your own Oki or getting Aaron 2-2Bs or stuff like that. It is a very difficult matchup to try and pull that kind of stuff off. Ivy is going to force Two Swords to play it in a significantly more regimented way. Unless he decides to switch to a different character, he could go with like a Maxi or something.
He does have a Maxi, and he used to have a Grow, but I think he's left Grow in the dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, Sane, from what I've seen, especially when he plays against Coffee, Sane is not exactly the best when it comes to understanding how to deal with Maxi. So that's another thing that Sane's going to have to potentially worry about.
Yeah. Not to downplay the strength of Two Swords. Two Swords, like, is actually insanely strong in this context. Like, it's just that he's playing against, I think, one of the legends of this game when it comes to just, like, if you're going to play against Weird, that was the one person you didn't want to play against. Because he's just not going to get... I don't think Sane's going to get hit by the Wayward 2-2B. It just won't be a thing, because they just won't get close. Or
They'll be too far away, yeah.
Yeah. Or if they do, it's like, oh, I'm already command grabbed. Shoot.
Yeah, I think the way that it's going to go is that if he gets hit by 2-2B, it's because Sane got too command grab happy and he got hit by the tech crouch.
Yeah. Or maybe okay, I will lose it if this happens. I do predict that there'll be like my sword cancel and you just get hit by 2-2B. That'd be really funny. That'd be perfect.
That would be funny. That would definitely be a quintessential. I would not be surprised to find out that happened. That being said, if I have to pick a favorite here, I have to go with Josh. I have to go with Sane. Yeah,
I agree. I'm kind of at the same vibe, but I'm looking forward to like Two Swords creating meme history, without question. It's going to be glorious. Between let's say hypothetically like Sane wins though versus like Two Swords and goes into Neko Yogi though. Well, how do you feel about that one? Because I'm like completely sure.
I mean, I'm sorry, Sane.
Oh no,
that's pretty tough. I am not that regionally biased. Okay, like just because he is one of my children does not mean that I will say that he's like, walking on water and unbeatable to everybody. I wish him the best of luck. I don't think it would be the absolute most stunning surprise in the whole universe that he beat Neko Yogi, but I do give him a solid favorite against Sane.
Yeah, I agree. All right, coming up next, the streamer of this channel, Big Papa Chunk versus Mao Zedong.
Big Papa Chunk will lose.
Wow, really? You think that?
Yeah. Mao Zedong was a dictator in China for decades.
No end. It's a dog. Mao Zedong, his dog.
Oh, okay. All right, guys, I got it. All right, I made a mistake. Okay, you don't have to, guys. It happened like 8 years ago. I don't know why we're still.
It's really important. You got.
So is this like the Air Bud version of Chinese dictators, where it's just like
no?
I thought it's just like a golden retriever shows up in Beijing, and they're just like, wait, a dog is trying out to be dictator? That's not in the rule book.
So they did go by Fujin V, if I remember correctly, but they recently changed their tag. She is also in Washington. And I met her when she was playing, Street Fighter. And they had mentioned that there was interest in playing SoulCalibur 6. I told her that she should. And I think that she's been practicing a little bit and plans to play in bracket. And also, it's kind of their way to also meet everyone at this event as well.
Oh, rad. Well, looking forward to meeting her. Chunk is a monster, actually. Don't let Chunk's annoying downplay fool you. Chunk's actually really good at the game now, and has been actually for the only time they were bad was when that picture was taken. That very strong picture. That was the only time Chunk was bad at the game.
He's gonna lose.
But the sad thing about this is that Chunk immediately moves on to quite literally the other person that wrote the book on the character that Chunk plays, which is Father Ramon. But they like I don't even know where to begin with Father Ramon, man. Like just like
he's been around for longer than I have. One of those people who has gone into serious portions of his life and doesn't stream or play the game all that much anymore. But he's been playing the game for so long that it frankly doesn't matter. He's always played the Task B character, so his fundamentals are basically through the roof. The way that you beat Ramon, in my personal opinion, is overwhelming him with game-specific jank, very similar to Omega XCN, and Big Papa Chunk can't do that with Ramon's own character.
Yeah,
it's also sugar. You could give him sugar. I think that's also a pretty good one.
Yeah, we could try to poison him.
Yeah,
that's the only way we're gonna get Chunk to the bracket.
This is the second time something like this has been brought up. I never factor in our ability to drug our competition. So you'll have to forgive me if I never factor that into my analysis.
Okay. Man, our analysis is so good.
You know something else we could do? We just stab everybody.
Yeah,
we just do that too.
Yo, speaking of stabbing people, though,
I'm like an inch away from doing that any old time.
Yeah, we do have two stabby dudes in the farther down between Potty and King Kaizuno. So Potty is he's one of the I don't know how to describe it. There's some players that are really, really good but don't play in a lot of tournaments and just kind of come to hang out, but they're like top tier. That's Potty. Potty could probably like if you gave Potty some practice, I think they would just like easily top 8 almost anything they enter regardless. Pretty much like the premier like NorCal Nightmare player. and just really, really solid. Like it's really you can't. Potty is a TO nightmare. Very difficult to seed, but you know that they're gonna jack up the bracket really hard. Casino, I don't quite know where their strength is at the game, but Casino has been paying for basically all of Caliber, so I just got to shout them out for being basically the main source of why WNF maintains any of its hype. I don't know where this money comes from. I'm not going to ask about it. It probably has to do with how we're analyzing the bracket, with the poisoning and stuff. I don't care. It's all good as long as the IRS doesn't come for us. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting nightmare mirror because they both play pretty aggressively.
I'm so glad to see that he moved to Washington, too. I am looking forward to meeting him and seeing if there's something that we can work on maybe in the future, because that'd be really good.
Yeah. And moving up, of course, going to the Demon King himself, though, Zephykai. Where do we go? Where do we start, Jay?
I don't know. Oh, you're skipping Nova Mage over there.
Nova Mage.
Oh, wait, shoot. I messed up. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, Nova. Actually, so Nova Mage.
Kanmai is fired.
I'm fired. I'm fired 1, but 2. Nova Mage is really, really, really good. I feel like his 2B is... his 2B skirts on the edges of, like, what this character has, like, tools that aren't, like, super, super great, but it doesn't seem to matter because the game plan Nova Mage is playing is, like, his own. And I feel like he's measured and tempered in a way that really makes it difficult for people to deal with because he knows what to do with really cheesy stuff, but it's always in the back pocket. You're never sure because most of the game is played fundamentally up until that point. And then when it does come out, especially in bracket context, it's really hard to beat that. I feel like he's just good at adapting. I think that's the essence of it. Is like you have a character that can kind of fish around for solutions and answers, but then he kind of like zeroes in on it, like throws away a round or two, and then he knows exactly what you're not going to block for the rest of the entire set. And so, yeah, I don't think I find it would be quite difficult for both players. But I would say like it wouldn't be too crazy if Potty beat Nova Mage, but I still think Nova Mage is like, especially since this dude, like I've only seen him play with like 400 ping. I'm afraid to see what he can do when he can actually like block punish something.
At least in terms of the character matchup, Nightmare versus 2B, probably one of the most lopsided matchups in the game against Nova Mage. So that will certainly be very difficult. I'm very happy to see that Nova Mage is playing again. I feel like he kind of effectively just took a break post-pandemic, very similar to a lot of us. And so I'm very happy that ended up... He's playing again, he's streaming a lot more. He entered ECT. He was, again, one of those people who really just joins one tournament a year, where he played against Incendiate in grand finals of last year's ECT and was very, very close. He came very close to winning. This year, it was kind of unfortunate. I was kind of disappointed. I thought that Nova Mage was going to be able to put up a little bit more of a fight, but it was pretty convincing on Incendiate's side. The fact that he's continuing to enter tournaments means that it's definitely not over. He could certainly get the comeback against Incendiate later on in the tournament if he goes far enough. So it looks like he would have to be going up against some pretty stiff competition that we'll probably talk about later as time goes on. But it looks like the next one, we got Kanmai, and he's stepping up to lose to this other guy. So what's up with that?
Wow. Dude, who the hell is Tepid Tag Tournament? What's their tag?
GGT.
He's the guy who's gonna put your dick in the dirt, from what I know.
Okay, I'm gonna get smoked by it. Actually, it does have some... Ooh. Plays some mooks? Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what to say. If I lose to this dude...
You had a good run, Kanmai.
I had a good run, dude. Like this guy's gonna absolutely slobber knock me. And,
we all believed in you. Some of us did.
No, nobody did. That's fine. But
there's gotta be at least.
How do you feel about the matchup between Tepid and Zeph? What do you think?
I think Zeph is pretty good, and the other guy don't know.
Okay, cool.
So that's up with that. I have seen you play against Zephykai before.
It's
a very awkward situation where I had to commentate, but also not necessarily coach too heavily in a Wednesday Night Fights match without it being too weird. So,
and it was bad because I got 3-0'd like multiple times.
Well, I feel like at some point, if you want to start trying to challenge people, and I think I said this at the end of that tournament set as well, Zeph, for the most part, puts you in positions where he's just trying to invite you to screw up. And you accept his challenge time and time again. Meanwhile, he just kind of so he lets you hang yourself, and in order to combat something like that, it's a little bit difficult for as well as he's not necessarily a fundamentally solid character necessarily. But to fight at that level, you have to work on playing more solidly, and so I think take it as a learning experience.
All right, well, I'll try to learn within 2 weeks and stuff like that. But
well, I mean, actually learn how to play against Zephkai while you're playing against him at bonus round.
I mean, I'm gonna try to get sets. This is the first time I think I'll actually be able to like, hey, listen, I gotta play sets. Just first to 5. I don't care what it is.
Oh.
But like Zeph is like probably the premier like Greek player. Definitely like I think the strongest Sophie in the West, like bar none. Much to Father Ramon's chagrin. But
yeah, I was about to say it's tough for me to say that in front of Ramon, but historically speaking, I think Zeph does do better than Ramon tournament-wise.
But the margins are pretty slim, and but also like Zeph has one of the most deadly X's in the game as well, and probably the reason why the Western scene is inundated with like X memes and all that is purely because Zephkai has taken that character and put it to a level where I love 6xb. I think that's like the coolest move in the game now because it's just like there's this vertical mid that seems to never ever get sidestepped ever because his timing is just that good. And yeah, this is like, and he has a slew of other characters, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be bouncing between those two choices pretty consistently at the absolute pinnacle of the game, where the matchup doesn't seem to matter. Just can you figure out Zephkai's timing? Can you keep up with the pace and the pressure, and just like the defense too? Like, man, every time I watch Zeph play, I'm like, man, this guy cannot be thrown. You can't throw him. It's not going to happen. Don't try. Give up. So
I bet I could do it.
Yeah. Well, hey.
I bet I
there
could
you go.
him.
And farther down
all
though,
over the place.
We have an interesting kind of like another one of those aggressive like West Coast, almost similar but different matchups, which is between Manta and Aaron Stone. Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna leave you two guys at this. I believe, played both of them online, but never in a tournament setting, and I don't have a lot of experience necessarily with either.
So real quick too, before I forget, Pool B is starting at 2 p.m.
Okay.
On that Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard, and that translates to 7 a.m. that Sunday for those watching in Japan.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So, but I just wanted to say that before I even forgot. But concerning Manta and Aaron Stone, this to me is one of those great matchups in terms of, okay, Aaron Stone has long been the absolutely has been the buzzsaw out here. You just can't. He's unconditionable.
Yeah.
And you have Manta, who does Manta things as Voldo.
And it's not conditionable either. They're the same guy.
So this is the unstoppable force that runs into yet another unstoppable force. So it's gonna be funny to see which one of them is like, okay, maybe I need to calm down a little in order to try to win this match. Because if not, it's gonna be goddamn Looney Tunes the whole time.
Yeah. So Manta plays for those uninitiated, plays the most aggressive Voldo I think to ever exist on this side of the planet, versus Aaron Stone's really crazy grow. It's always doing big stuff. Like I don't think I've ever seen like Aaron Stone do an AA or BB or a 2A in like 14,000 years. Like this guy just does big stuff, and it's really fun to watch. But historically speaking, I give it to Manta, just because in tournament bracket, when they usually fight, Manta just has a couple more shenanigans up his sleeve to edge out, and also plays probably a little more solid, well, a lot more solid neutral. Like Manta's always fishy for 6-6B no matter what's happening. He doesn't, like, he actually wants whip punishment, so he'll pay attention to like Aaron Stone's proclivities. Between Zeph and Manta, it's been a little bit Manta favored recently, but I think offline, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Zeph is gonna like just absolutely, put down Manta, unless Manta is really prepared. We'll see. I'm like really excited because Manta does do preparation, so it might kind of lead up to like whatever libations happen beforehand, to kind of like determine what's going to happen exactly. But they're pretty equally matched, I would say. But I don't know. Like I just like feel like whenever Zeph enters a tournament offline, there's just a different player than before, for sure. Like especially at WNF. WNF is just like whatever, chill out, just get top 3, call it a night.
Yeah. Well, I think that let me pull it up here again because I accidentally clicked off it like an idiot. Um, I do see Manta clearing it as well. I don't think Aaron Stone has the Valdo experience, and I don't even think he has the Manta experience, to be honest. But I think that Aaron Stone has a chance to progress some through losers. But this tournament does not have many. I would not. The tournament's incredibly strong, so we'll see what he brings to the table getting ready for such a strong bracket.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so I guess we're rolling down a little bit lower to the Great Dreamer versus Marigram. I don't know who Marigram is. Marigram.
Yeah, I'll talk. So Mary Graham is a person we just found here in Portland. She is a streamer on Twitch who was just playing SoulCalibur because she liked it. And some random, whoever it was out there, some random SoulCalibur stream monster saw that she was streaming SoulCalibur and went to her stream and was like, "Oh, where are you located?" And she said Oregon, and they were like, "Whoa, Oregon's got a crazy good SoulCalibur scene." And she's like, "Really? I didn't know." And he was like, "Yeah, you should go to your locals." And so Mary Graham, to her benefit, started Googling where to find our FGC locals here and found the Faustian FGC website.
Oh, great.
And through that was able to find our locals. So she just showed up one day and was like, "Hey, does anyone play SoulCalibur here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm," because like none of our SoulCalibur players were there at the time because the game has been a little bit on maintenance mode. But then I was like, "Yeah, I'm chapter. I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm bragging, but I'm one of the bigger SoulCalibur TOs." And she was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then like was just like, she was just like, "Yeah, whatever."
Okay, I'm down in the bracket. Okay, though.
Yeah, and then I talked to her and I was like, "Yeah, you got to come to this thing. I'll introduce you to the people." And so we got Dill Muncher, Art Graves, and Aaron Stone to come out to give her games, and she was beating Dill Muncher.
Oh, okay.
And she plays Tira.
Interesting. Okay. Tira player versus Dreamer. Oh, okay. So Dreamer plays Haomaru, but also has like a pretty janky Yoshi and a slew of other kind of like alts, but mostly Haomaru I'm expecting at tournament. This one is probably the most coin flippy one. Like if you wanted to get your channel points, you go to this match. I think somebody who can beat Dill Muncher can probably also handily beat Dreamer, but Dreamer also plays a character that I think nobody really plays, and also can have moments of like extreme brilliance. Like very feast or famine with Dreamer. Dreamer is a mashy, curse word for lack of a better term. But there are times when it's just like they get it. They really get that the flow of the match is going to go their way. So we'll see kind of the tip for tap, especially since Marigram's an unknown. Like that's probably the most exciting part about this is like kind of known player, but versus like somebody who's unknown but strong. And,
she's just grinding the game on ranked, and she was just talking about how hard it was to find anything, but she just sat there and played every person she could. So here she is.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm excited. Going up against one of our Japanese guests, the one I cannot scout. I cannot figure out.
I can.
Help me out with K-Chan because I'm like completely lost.
Okay, if it's K-Chan or Kai-Chan, first of all, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it right. This man is a Mitsurugi mechanic.
Ooh.
In fact, he said once the bracket was revealed, I quote, "I have no choice but to show my samurai spirit from the heart."
Oh my god. I'm so excited.
I remember watching him back in SC5. K-Chan is an insane person. He is somebody who will completely overwhelm somebody with a variety of stuff before they ever really get a chance to breathe, and gets to decide on the pace of the match whenever he wants to. He was able to do that with SC5 Mitsu. a character that was typically a lot more defensively oriented, poke oriented, and had virtually no stances. Now we have SE6 Mitsu, and it's a wildly different experience. And that's going to be very tough for everybody around.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I mean, not only that, but I mean, as soon as PGW on our post stream put the stream up or the bracket up, and he saw where he was at in the bracket, immediately, frame one, he took a picture of the bracket and put it on his timeline and said, "Everyone, tell me everything you know about these people."
Oh, that's really exciting.
And you know, it's funny because if obviously my translations that I get are mostly from AI and like paid app programming that I'm using, but I remember that when Kamizono said that it was going to be him and Neko in grand finals, they jokingly said that Kichan was going to drown in pools. But
I don't think
when
so.
they said that, they said it with such laughter that I think that yeah, they were being very playful, especially because he does seem to be very, very serious in terms of how he's taking it. Also, strangely enough, seeing all of his tweets, massive Godzilla fan. Just want to point it out there.
Oh yeah, happy Godzilla -1 day. I'm actually missing it to do this. So
I mean, you say that he's like a Godzilla fan, but let's be honest. If Godzilla actually showed up, he'd be scared.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
he'd be scared of his Mitsu. I agree.
Like Please Arts just said in the chat too, and there was, I mean, I had it seen on, I saw him be called it in another chat, but they literally call him the last samurai of Japan.
Oh, that's so cool. So Mitsu is also rare in Japan?
I thought that was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, listen, I know you were gonna go there, but we're just gonna ignore it and leave that alone. Surprisingly good movie, honestly. But
yeah, it's a shame there's like that whole Great White Hope thing going on, but other than that, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. But is it Ki-chan, Kai-chan?
I mean, if it's K, if
somebody has Party Wolf, come in here
K-chan.
and tell us how to pronounce all of the Japanese players' names so we don't look like absolute fools, please.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's in the other chat. It would be nice if he told us what they're saying.
He's hanging out with oh god, I almost said something. But anyway, so we're
Yo, Choto.
Yo, chill. But so I think that Scientific and R plus Tank, I wanted to go over that too. Or is K like saying the letter Chan? K-chan. All right, perfect. Thank you.
I said it right.
Okay.
You guys owe me money.
K-chan, if y'all want to, when y'all meet him, if y'all want to get on his good side, bring him some Godzilla stuff. That's all I'm saying. That man has
That's like importing like a cheap replica to give to a genuine person. That's so weird.
I know. I get it. But I just see him all the time.
Here's like this Kuso Omiyage. Like, and then you're like,
exactly. Exactly. But we'll come back to K-chan here in a second. Scientific and R plus Tank. Now, Scientific is the catalyst of why there is SoulCalibur as prominent as there is in Pacific Northwest.
Oh, okay.
So when I had moved to Eugene, Oregon back in 2018, I went to our locals. It was very sparse, and I said, hey, who here wants to actually be like competitive in something? Like, who wants to grind and get somewhere and just needs someone to get boundaries out of their way? Scientific was the only person who came up to me and said, I want to play SoulCalibur. And it was him. It was him and his training partner. That was it. And I was like, all right, if you're grinding, then I'm going to go ahead and find everyone that I can. And went and searched the entirety of Oregon, the entirety of Washington, and we only found like 6 people, and that was the start of Battle Break, and eventually what became Faustian, was just getting all these people together, because Scientific came up to me when I randomly at a bar and said, who wants to be competitive? He said, I do. I want to play SoulCalibur, and the rest is history, and I know all of you because he had the courage to do that.
Dang. That's really deep. Who does he play?
He is a Siegfried main because his best friend that he played SoulCalibur with was a Siegfried main, and he passed away, and it's how he honors him.
Oh man, that.
Before that, he was a Mitsu main. Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be interesting. Oh, what about R plus Tank?
No clue.
Okay, cool. I was like, I'm trying to find their names on Smash, and it's just not. I'm getting dry. But up next is honestly, this is the craziest part of the bracket to beat. Boom is here. Dynamic Focus Boom.
Yeah.
Combo Breaker winner. TO Pinnacle. Maryland's like God King. Probably not God King, but effectively like the head honcho of the Maryland faction, for lack of a better term. Absolutely like amazing scientist with Huang. One of the Yosh one mega like quintessential, like probably like the player that plays the weirdest but the strongest. I can't think of anybody who really exemplifies the ability to just like take people and deconstruct them as soon as possible better than Boom. Boom is so good at that component of the game plan. And like when you talked about K-Chan's ability to be really aggressive and dictate the pace of the match, how do you think that's going to happen against Boom though?
I think that Boom would be kidding himself if he's going to try to deal without as Yoshi. I think that's a big mistake, and I doubt it's a mistake that he'll make. So Huang versus Mitsu. Does K-Chan understand how Huang works? Is K-Chan going to be taking this seriously enough where he's going to be dealing with probably our best Huang in the States?
Yeah.
Potentially the best Huang just around in general, as I'm struggling to remember Huang players from other parts of the world.
Yeah, I don't even know who plays Huang.
That's going to be very tough. I think that is... Because Boom doesn't really play the game anymore, I'm going to have to give it to K-Chan. I get the impression that K-Chan is going to be taking this more seriously than Boom is. But I would not be surprised to hear either or wins.
Yeah, I think this is my most anticipated matchup because of the lack of knowledge. We're talking like a Boom that's been playing other games, but still really strong because like he still got really deep in Evo. But yeah, K-Chan is like the big, powerful unknown that on a character that very many people are not. We are not versed against Mitsu. Like, he is also the last samurai in the West for sure, which is crazy.
Yeah,
to think about that.
Speaking of bringing people presents, though, we are kind of like celebrating Boom's birthday while he's out here too. So
get him some pickles, everybody.
Get him some candy corn if you actually want to make him happy, or bring some Baltimore Blonde Guinness for sure, because that's like the one beer we don't have out here.
I wonder if we can import like Skimono over from Japan.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "What is this?" It's like, and he's like, "Wait, these are pickles, aren't they?"
Yeah. It's exactly what it's gonna be.
That's so funny, dude.
I'm gonna have to put some pickles in our little bluffing Santa game to see where he ends up.
Yeah, dude. Oh man. So okay, let's I guess we'll recap. So who do you think is like out of the winners' quarters? I guess like who's coming out? And
apologies to Sane, but I think it's Neko Yogi. Ramon against Nova Mage is a real tough one.
Yeah,
as I mentioned before, if there is one way to beat Ramon, it's with game-specific jank, which 2B has a metric truckload of. I could see that going either way. I hope Ramon wins, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised to find out either way. Zefukai over Manta, almost for sure.
Yeah.
And then K-Chan versus Boom, that's also like a pretty contentious one for me. This is significantly harder than the previous pool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Between Boom and K-Chan, and Ramon and Nova Mage, boy, that is really tough. Yeah, it could be it could be any of those four people, and I wouldn't be surprised literally at all to hear of any of those four being in winners or losers.
Yeah.
So one thing to note too is that if K-Chan takes it over Boom, then he would likely be against Zefukai.
Oh.
Now it would be Zefukai versus K-Chan, and let's just say, hypothetically, Zeph takes it over K-Chan. Mm-hmm. Loser's quarterfinal would be K-Chan versus Nova Mage.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
And
that'd be so cool.
And that's Mitsu, right?
Yeah, Mitsu.
Nova Mage does play against Kashi.
Oh, yeah.
So is Mitsu a character with enough depth to where playing different Mitsus might actually become a hindrance? I would say yes. I would say that is possible. I don't know much about the 2B versus Mitsu matchup. I don't know it well enough to say that one character definitely goes better than the other against each other. And so that's a real tough one too. I think I'd give that to K-Chan, but again, we're really talking about unknown quantities and reputations of skill that are very similar. So it's very difficult to try and come up with that. The only reason why I would say that Zeph is a favorite against K-Chan is because if Zeph's not a favorite, then who is?
Yeah.
And that's just a vote for survival at that point. It's very difficult to establish it in any other sort of way. So this pool is significantly harder to call than the other one.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm excited by the possibility, though. I think that Ramon could take it over Nova Mage. And then, like, Nova versus Nakayoki would be, like, an absolute feast of old school. Like, right? It would just be, like, pure... I think it would be, like, some of the most measured caliber I think we've ever seen in our lives. So, like, this, like, almost all the outcomes in this are really, really insane. Like, just, like, from a viewer standpoint. So I'm really excited.
So based on our initial predictions, at least I should say the higher majority, I don't even know predictions, the percentage wise, then what we'd be looking at for top 8 would be winners semifinals would be Incendiate versus Kamizono, and then it would be Nekuyogi versus Kai-Chan.
That's a shame.
That's a shame.
That sucks.
Then losers round 1 would be Heaton if they took it over Rip City at that point. It would be Heaton versus Omega XCN.
Oh.
And then the losers round 1 from pools B would be Ramon versus Zeph at that point.
Is Omega XCN versus Heaton a run back from EVO Japan? Or did they not play?
Maybe?
I don't think they play. Well, it's a 1-to-1. The run back that I want that matters is the Nekayogi versus Heaton, because that was literally 1 and 2.
But what is interesting is that if Zeph does take it over K-Chan, then that losers pools B match is Ramon versus K-Chan, which would, and if he wins, it would go into, based on predictions, Omega XCN into K-Chan, and then, would potentially have to run into Zeph again in losers semifinals for the run back.
I think if Zeph can beat K-Chan, then Ramon can beat K-Chan.
Yeah, that's.
I think if one beats them, then the other one will beat them too.
Yeah, I think it's like pretty fair. They're pretty similar in terms of their discipline and style and efficacy. So yeah, I'm pretty.
Yeah, there would have to be something that is so drastically different in Zeph's play style that Ramon would not be able to replicate. That would keep him from winning that match, and I can't think of what it would be.
Yeah. Well, oof. This is one hell of a tournament, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, Pool B especially is going to be the one to watch.
Yeah, I'm like genuinely jazzed. Like the more I think about this, just like there's enough unknowns. There's some familiar pockets, but they're really early on. But the first permutation of the bracket is all weird. Like most of these matchups are going to be pretty nuts. And a lot of the upsets are not like super upsetty. They're more like just deviations from like the normal timeline. But they will all result in crazy matches, I think. Like Giraffe Cankles and Nekoyogi would be pretty interesting. Let's see what else would be like.
There's so many with the Japanese players. There's just so many unknown quantities. It's so difficult to make a confident stake as to who's going to take it over. If only because I'm only going off of reputation. I can't reasonably go off of anything else.
Yeah, that's true. Because like I haven't watched a lot of their footage either, almost like to keep me excited. But now I have to dig into K-Chomp though. I really want to see, because like that's the kind of hype that like I live for that kind of stuff.
I really appreciate, Chapter, that you were able to get them out there. And if any of the Japanese players are watching, I'm really glad that you decided to show up. And I hope that you all lose.
Well, I need to be clear that them coming out was efforts on them as well as Mr. Kudo over at PGW. It was very awesome that they were able to put that forth so that they could come out here. We're sad that Gamera couldn't make it out too, since we have such a strong Grand Blue region. But at this point, I am I'm so gun shy about saying any of these names because I know they are beating my ass right now in the Japanese chat because of how bad I've been pronouncing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, K Chan at this point. So
that's what we've been saying, isn't it?
Yeah, no, well, me, I don't know. They said I was making it sound like a Chinese name or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm from South Carolina, y'all. You don't understand. I can barely speak English, much less any of these international languages. I'm your stereotypical American. I suck.
I want to translate for you.
Tell you what.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I know they're just absolutely dogpiling me. All right, give me the translations.
No, I'm afraid. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no, this is amazing. I'm so glad. I
mean, think about it. They're talking all this shit about me already, and they haven't even seen me.
Oh, I know. Once they see you, they're gonna die.
Oh God. Oh man.
They're gonna love it, man. Oh
no, oh man.
I don't know. If they think I look strong, chapter's gonna be a whole nother level.
Yeah, so you had this.
Oh my God. No. Okay, listen. All right, listen, Japan, y'all need to know I'm fat, but it's not just because American food is the way it is.
Yo,
it's because
if we take a picture of you and give it to K-Chan, will they consider it Godzilla merch?
I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you. You're gonna wear that little McDonald's shirt, and it's gonna trigger me, and I'm gonna eat you right in front of everybody.
All right. Well, I don't know where to go from here.
I don't know. Probably to the gym in my case at this point. I don't know. I've never felt bad about being fat ever, like in regards to this stuff. But the idea, I didn't even think about it, that we're gonna have this international audience see me and just be like, how in the fuck did someone let that happen to them? It's like, yeah.
But then they're gonna see your cool tattoos and be like, okay, wait, never mind.
Yeah, they're gonna see those cool tattoos and
it'll be
like,
more about the difference in culture than anything
that's
else.
not
happening.
I'm pretty sure PGW is gonna be very scared of when they see you. They'll be like, wait, what did we just send our players to do?
Yeah, I know. That's what I need to probably grow out my hair, so I can just hide my head for all the craziness I've got onto it. But I can't at this point. In fact, in a couple of days, I go to get my neck and throat and shoulders done even more. So literally every part of me you can see is going to be inked at this point.
All right. Well, I think one thing I guess we can transition to is sort of recap. So let's see, Pool A you said starts on the Saturday the 16th at 12, correct?
So Pool A starts Saturday the 16th at 12 for the Japanese audience that watches at home. That will be the Sunday morning for you at 5 a.m.
Right, and then we'll have it'll be a continuous stream of both pools straight into our top 8, and then eventually the big reveal of the Secret Santa boss battle afterwards, right?
Yes. So thank you for reminding me of that. So
You're
anyway,
welcome.
We're going to have Secret Boss Santa afterwards. And for those that don't know, especially those that are listening to us from Japan, essentially the way it works is I've flown in a secret player, and whoever takes first in the tournament, they get challenged by this Santa. And if they beat Santa, then I double their prize money for the entire tournament. So whatever it is that they get, I just double it outright, and I pay you right then and there on the spot if I can. If it's a player from Japan, I doubt they'll have Venmo, so I better carry around a bunch of cash on me. But don't test me because I'm really strong, as you can tell. Like you can't. It's a fat joke.
That's a lot of yen to be carrying around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I imagine I'll just bring a whole bunch of Stumptown coffee gift certificates and see if that works out.
So that's interesting.
But yeah, that'll be a fun part, and I'm also doing that too for Tekken. So if there's any Tekken fans over in the Japanese audience, you'll be able to see that later on in the stream for that as well. And I have a secret boss Santa for Tekken as well. And I will go ahead and say that there is one more surprise that y'all don't know about that has nothing to do with any of the players or the Santa that has been discussed so far.
I can't take this anymore.
But I cannot tell y'all.
I have a guess, but I'm not going to say it. But I have a guess. It's related to Calibur.
You can have a guess, but I will say this: that I worked very, 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 very hard to see if I could make this happen for y'all, and it should. And if it does, it's really awesome, and we will talk about it more at the event when it's revealed.
Bro.
But once again, before I forget to, thank you to PGW.TV for the co-stream, to the Godzono, Kamizono, who has been over there streaming it with the towel wrapped around his head like a little babushka. That was, I'm glad you were chilling out here with us and the stream as well. I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to meeting the Nekuyogi. I look forward to meeting K-Chan and everyone else. So
also to his co-host Yutoto, correct?
Yeah, of course. We're sad that Yutoto couldn't make it. That once again, just another one of those players that had life get in the way for them. But maybe next time. Also, we had a couple of people we tried to get out for Santas, and life just kept popping up to them. So this won't be the last time we do this, though. I mean, honestly, if not me, if not Big Papa Chunk, if not Saban Deus, then who? So we're gonna keep doing this thing.
Heck yeah! All right. Also, what Twitch channel is this gonna be streamed on?
Bonus Round FGC.
Bonus Round FGC. Twitch.tv/Bonus Round FGC. Saturday, December 16th, starting at 12 p.m. I had to think about that for a second.
Yeah, it was not starting at midnight.
I mean, no. All right, I think that's about it.
Yeah, and any closing comments there from y'all, JJ or Kamai?
Good luck, everybody, and I'm very excited to see U.S. versus Japan. I mean, this is one of the first times we've had this kind of thing in quite some time. Is the crowd even going to understand? Is it East versus West, or is it man against man? Can any nation stand alone?
Listen.
Will Chapter eat Kamai live on stream?
Yeah. Will I do that? Just everyone be cool. I don't want any sort of weird jingoism stuff happening, Let's have fun.
All right.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I should have prepared a Japanese statement. I feel kind of bad. I'm ashamed of my own country.
Should. You failed them. I'm American. I can't help.
Yeah, I don't get the pass.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to see Kamizono again, of course. Tokusan no noimasu. I don't know. I'm actually really excited to be K-chan. Like, honestly, he just strikes me as the kind of person that I'm gonna be like never up about for the next million years. Obviously, Knuckle Yogi is a legend, and I'm looking forward to seeing him, and obviously the whole Calibur community. But this is such a rare and insane treat to have this. It's just like, I don't know. I'm like almost in tears, and honestly, but I'm very excited to play it, everybody, and hopefully we can take this and maybe carry this to Evo Japan, because I only know most of these players through experiencing that, and honestly, I want to go back to Evo Japan, but it would be really nice if people recognized all of us too.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so
thanks for coming here.
Keep us those burning, and looking forward to playing with all you guys.
Absolutely. I just want to gush for another 30 minutes over how thankful I am to PGW and everyone over at Japan that's even giving us a second thought about coming here. It is unreal, and I will do my best to make sure that they understand every ounce of my thankfulness when they're here as their host.
All right, sweet. Well, thank you, Chapter. Thank you, Kamai. Thank you, JJJ. Thank you, Kamizono and Yutoto over at PGW TV. Very much appreciate it. And so, yeah, we'll be out here doing this December 16th. Bonus Round FGC, twitch.tv. And, yeah, please send me tips on how to play SoulCalibur.
Good luck.
Right? Yeah, please send me tips. How do I beat Ramon in the mirror? Because
Metafy.com/JJJ.
Yeah. Metafy. Let's do it.
Yeah, sure. We end this with plugging my Metafy.
Or as I say, JJ, when are you gonna upload that?
Fans Metafy at this point.
When are you gonna upload your Sophitia video, Jay? Is it before December 16th by any chance?
No. I'm going in character order on the character select screen. You got a while. Also, I hate to break it to you. There's a good chance that video is not going to be titled "This is how you can beat Ramon with this character."
That's a shame because that's a huge title for clickbait.
I'm not much of a clickbaiter.
It's probably a good thing. All right, cool. All right, I think we're gonna end it there. So, yeah, thank you all very, very much. We'll see you then. Also, don't forget, there's still 2 more WNFs before then. One next week?
2 more.
Yes, 2 more WNFs. So I'll still be streaming that Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard, so you can watch those there. Okubo-san.
Oh,
he's here.
What about him?
He's
wait,
here.
Honestly?
Either that or it's a
Where?
fake account.
Is that him? No way.
I doubt
No,
it,
that's
but-
not possible.
Yeah, there'd be no way.
Don't fall for the bait.
But either way, shouts out to Okubo. Thanks for the picture.
That's him because he's retweeted the thing.
Everybody, stay perfectly still.
Everyone stay still.
His vision is based on movement.
Yeah. No, he just liked the reveal stream, so
All right.
you know, Kuba-san, thank you for stopping by, and yeah, we
Hope you tune in.
Yeah, we hope you tune in and that you enjoy the tournament from wherever you're at. So, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I hope you all have a good night. And that's going to be it. So, take care. Oh, wait, that's right. There's no, like, raid feature in YouTube or it's weird. So, I'm just going to end it. This is going to be kind of awkward. But thanks, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.